Okay, we're now ready to load our OpenAR transactions from QuickBooks into NetSuite. So in the last video, we prepared the import templates. And now what I've done is I went ahead and created a test invoice upload. And then I also did some cleanup work in the individual files, which might make it a little bit easier. I have some notes in the class notes section about which columns are required and not required for each of these transaction types. And that might just make it a little bit easier for you to make sure you get the right columns mapped to the right fields in NetSuite. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and do our imports. So we're going to go to Setup, Import CSV Records. And I'm going to do the invoice first. So we're going to go to Transactions, Invoice. Click Next. We're going to do Add. And then again, we're just going to go through the process of mapping these fields. So the name ID, that's the internal ID. And I'm going to click that pencil, get the internal ID. External ID looks good. Posting period, I'm going to override that to be my November 2023. The date is added. The amount already mapped to the right items. And so then I'm going to grab my item, suspense item ID. And I'm going to go ahead and map some of these additional fields. So I've got the AR account ID. I'm going to grab the invoice number. And so I think I've got all the fields over here that I need. And I'm just going to flip through on this side to make sure I grabbed everything. And one thing that I would recommend is they've got these to be emailed, faxed, and printed fields. I'm just going to go ahead and add those. And I'm going to set these to no, since these invoices should have already been sent out to their customer. So I'm not going to, I don't want those to be re-emailed. I'm really only creating this invoice so that I can apply the payment once I receive that from the customer. And then in the item section, I'm going to go ahead and add the description, and I'm going to put the memo for that. And then I'm going to click next. And then I'm going to call this optimal data, OpenAR invoice. Click save and run. Click import job status. Excellent. I can see that my invoice loaded successfully. So I'm going to go to sales, create invoice list. And I'm going to validate this looks good. It's open. I can see on here that the period is November 2023, even though the date is June 30th, 2022. So this looks good. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and do my next transaction import. I'm going to go to transactions, do the credit memo. You can see this is it's pretty similar by the transaction type. And so it's just a matter of practice getting these uploads correct. So for the credit memo, it's trying to apply this to a invoice. And so I'm actually going to exclude these transactions. So you can just click X and you'll get this warning saying that, hey, this apply row is required. And if you remove that, it's going to remove all the other applicable rows, and that's okay. So I'm going to click through that. And then I've got my item. So I'm going to grab my suspense item ID. That's the internal ID. The account is going to be the AR account. Map that. That's an ID. And there's the number, which is the credit number. And then I just need the amount. And I should have the item, the amount, and then I'm going to go ahead and get the description included as well. That is the memo. And these credit memos, you have the same thing, this to be emailed, faxed, and printed. So I'm going to go ahead and click those and check all of these to no. And then we're ready to click save and run, import job status. And again, we can see that my credit memo loaded successfully. So I'm going to go to sales, or no, it's under customers, issue credit memo list. And I can see that everything looks good. The status is open and the period is correct. All right, so now we're going to do customer payment. So we'll do the same thing, go import transactions, customer payment. Payments, and do add the name ID. This handling mode, I am actually unsure what that is. I usually just keep this as, I think there's an option for save only, so that's what I typically do. So, posting period. And here's another one where the invoice is trying to apply, and so I just remove that because this is really an unapplied payment. So we get the AR accounts is going to be the AR account ID. The account is going to be the suspense expense account ID, not the item. We get the check number is going to be the number. And so I kind of look down here, I'm going to add the payment number to also be the number. The payment amount, I'm going to make to be the amount. And then I'm going to set this undeposited funds to be no. And that's important because otherwise the payment will go in and the credit side of the payment will be the undeposited funds account and not your suspense account. So you want to make sure you include that undeposited funds to be no. And I think that's all I need. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. And then we'll save this. Excellent. Now I can see that my customer payment loaded successfully. And I'm going to just go ahead and double check. And the deposited is the right status. The account is looking good. That's not the undeposited funds account. All right, and so then our last transaction is going to be the journal entry, which if you watched the Open AP section, it's the exact same process. So you could use the same template if you wanted, but for the course, I'm going to go ahead and just create it again. In my instance, I need to run the server, the trigger workflow for the journals to import as approved. So we'll just go ahead and add all our fields. All right, and so we've got everything added. Save our template, save and run. All right, and so we're journal entry loaded successfully. So we'll go ahead and go to the journal entry page and doing one last check to make sure that that entry loaded correctly. I'm going to do this. I like to use a quick sort recently created so that the Open AR is at the top. And I can see that it loaded correctly and it's set to be approved for posting. Okay, so with that, then we've loaded all of our test transactions. We're now ready to go back and load our full list of invoices. And then in the next video, we're going to go over how to reverse the Open AR customer balance so that we can finalize our Open AR import. All right, we'll see you in the next class.